Hi, I'm Dee Good with Drala Mountain Center, and I'm here today with Lama Alta Brown and David Susi, who are going to be leading a retreat called Dancing Through the Dark Door that happens in late March. March 31st is when it starts. So, welcome, Lama Alta and David.
Thank
Hi.
you.
So, I'm curious about what happened during this retreat and what's the whole idea behind Dancing Through the Dark Door, Lama Alta?
So the idea is actually be, to find out what it is that is keeping you from really behaving like the bodhisattva you want to be. That is, what is it that you've shoved down into the darkness that you don't want to look at that makes it really hard to genuinely forgive anyone who has really hurt you? You're actually finding out what we call a demon, your demon is. That, those are kind of negative thoughts that you have that keep all of those things that you want to suppress down in there.
That sounds fascinating. And how is it, what are the methods that you're using during the retreat to for people to work with their demons or make friends with them?
Well, first of all, we make a mask of actually our own faces. And in that way, we own whatever it is that happens. And then we decorate the mask as our demon. The interesting thing that happens is that the mask seems to make its own demands as we're actually decorating it. One of the reasons that happens is we do some bodhisattva oriented meditations the second day so that we can actually invite our demon. And then it comes.
And then how do you work with it?
Well, what happens is that you the person that dances puts the mask on, turns their back and puts the mask on. And one of the people, either David or I, blows a Kong Ling to call the demon. The person turns around and dances. The magic that happens, which is somewhat shocking, is that suddenly it seems as if the demon fills the space. It comes to life. So instead of just thinking about something that that you've repressed, having ideas of it, all of a sudden, whatever it is takes on life. The person that's dancing can either accept questions or not. And the people that are other people that are there act as witnesses. They don't say anything unless the person that dances wants them to.
Well, tell me about your background and how, um, your preparation for doing this kind of work.
I've been practicing with Khenpo Sotram, Trungpa Rinpoche, and Trungpa Rinpoche for about 40 years altogether. And the inspiration for this particular kind of practice actually came about because I began to recognize that most of the therapeutic kinds of things that we do to try and ask our demon to appear usually end up just being ideas that we have. But I thought, well, how amazing would it be for us to actually manifest whatever it is, bring it to life? Part of this happened, this inspiration happened because I had taught a retreat that used that sand therapy, where you make your demon out of sand, figures of sand. But that's still pretty much removed from you, actually. it's kind of safe because you can just take a look at whatever you've made, but it doesn't necessarily have to impact you directly. When you're doing Dancing Through the Dark Door, you actually become the demon. It's a
Great.
direct experience.
Yeah, if I may add, this Dancing Through the Dark Door is actually was developed out of chud practice that Lama Alta had been doing from she got that from Campo Sultram, and it actually came out of the chud practice with the idea is that you call up. I mean, this is a very ancient kind of point of view where you imply that other beings are actually influencing you to do things that you don't want to, that you may not want to do, or certainly things that are obstacles. And of course, the ancients, their attitude, everything was alive. So of course, your thoughts and your feelings are alive too. So, and some of these come to be called demons because they're negative. Tibetans don't really look at them as negative the way the Europeans do. And but the practice, the Dancing Through the Dark Door came out of that. So you actually call one of these. Well, you don't even know who you're calling with the Dancing Through the Dark Door, but you call one of these demons, and they basically appear. Well, you say appear. I mean, you don't necessarily see them, but you can feel, and you can feel them actually sort of. Um, it's kind of it's well compared to something like voodoo where the demons ride you. It's not that. So you don't actually lose possession of yourself. It's just sort of, but you can feel yourself sort of taking a step back and the demon is taking a step forward, so you can actually experience it.
Hmm. And say more about what's your experience with chud practice and how does that relate to this practice of dancing through the dark door?
Oh, well, for me, the idea that chud practice is that you are expected to be afraid of your demons, which is why they call them demons. You're expected to be afraid, basically, and the idea is you call them and should you call all of them, all the demons, basically, and or all the invisible beings, um, and you offer them your body. You offer them the idea of your body. So the chud ritual, you visualize cutting up your body and offering your body to the various god demons and bodhisattvas and buddhas and you can have specific ones too, but typically the chud is not done with specific entities. It's basically sort of calling everybody,
Hmm.
and the idea um, uh, you're afraid of them, but you can make them your friends by offering to feed them your body, which is of course in terms of safety is um, can be anxiety producing. I guess I would say more than I would say terrifying exactly, but certainly anxiety producing.
Hmm.
And and when you feed them, and you can feel it happening when you're doing chud, that they actually become softer and more friendly because they are, and of course, in the contemporary Western sense, they actually are you. I mean, this is parts of your personality that are being expressed, but the ancient point of view is more literal about calling the demons and having them come. But that's how and Lama Alta and at least one other person developed this dancing through the dark door as a way of uh, summoning, like you could say in the Western sense, summoning um, a specific but not necessarily known in advance entity. If you we're going to call it an entity because it's an ancient practice, but it's going to be something that you don't know because you're unable to acknowledge it because it's something you're defending against vigorously, generally speaking. So that's sort of the connection, and it can be more or less vivid as you put more or less energy into it. So
Hmm.
You might want to ask, well, how is that useful? And how is it that you get protected when your demon appears? Well, the protection is actually your bodhisattva intention. That that whatever that appears is actually part of, as David said, you're part of your mind. And so instead of suppressing that part and being afraid of it and making it the cause of all kinds of illnesses, you befriend it, just as you do with all beings from Bodhisattva point of view. And that's true, definitely true and should. The idea is you invite all beings, but particularly the ones that want to hurt you. And in offering them your the idea of your body, which is, if you don't have your idea of your body, you're not here. So that's a big time offering, all right. And so you offer that to them. That's even if you could say a form of pointing out instruction. And doing that, you transmute them, transmute those negative energies. And in the same way, when you're doing dancing through the dark door, you are, by acknowledging and bringing to life whatever it is that you've stuffed down in your subconscious, you are making friends with that, whatever it happens to be. So it's no longer the source of illnesses and anger and the inability to forgive or to care about other beings. So it's a bodhisattva practice. It's not the same as chud, but the idea of it is very much like chud. This is pretty secular, but still we're going to be doing some bodhisattva practices, like particularly Tonglen.
Mm.
Before you decorate the mask, you do Tonglen for your demon.
Mm-hmm.
That's some of the ways that the demon comes to life.
And Tonglen, can you offer a short explanation of Tonglen?
Yeah. With Tonglen, you breathe in whatever kind of pain of the object of your meditation. Maybe it's a person, maybe it's a group of people. You breathe in that, and then you breathe out whatever is the antidote to that pain. So when you're working with your demon, what you're doing is you're not only acknowledging whatever it is that you've stuffed, but you're actually, from the most central part of your mind, you're issuing out great kindness and great love to this demon and transforming it in that way. At the end of the practice of the weekend, people get together and talk about whatever it is that they found out about themselves and what they want to take home with them about it. But even before that, they exchange masks and offer a kata, a blessing, to their demon and put the mask on the shrine. Tempo Sotram liked this so much, he actually gave me an hour interview, which never happens. And he said, through the translator, this you will be of great benefit to sentient beings doing this. Do it a lot. So that's where the authorization for doing this practice comes from. And Kempo said that they do something like this in Tibet. Well, I was puzzled. Where do they do that? I thought. And I was watching one of the Lama dances, and they actually said that some of those really, really wrathful, scary, scary masks, that does represent the demons, and it is transmuted. The demons are transmuted during the Lama dances. So, I see what the Tibetan roots of this kind of practice might be. As I said, it's all about compassion. It's all about the ability to exercise, to behave like a compassionate being, and whatever it is that's getting in your way, finding out about it, making friends with it.
So, who should come to this weekend? Who will you invite?
I would invite anybody that really wants to know about what's in there that might be causing some real problems for you. And I know people might say, well, is this dangerous? Not any more dangerous than doing real Buddhist practices. Doing Vajrayana practice, for instance, you never know what it is that's going to be coming up that you're practicing with. And Trungpa Rinpoche said that. So, of course, if you did know, it wouldn't be this wouldn't be the kind of practice it really is. But the idea is that you are protected always by your intention to work for the benefit of all beings, and particularly those that intend to harm you, and transmuting them in that way.
That sounds wonderful. Well, I'm really excited about this offering. It's something that we haven't done before at Drala Mountain Center, but I think it could be of great benefit to anyone who participates. So thank you, David and Lama Alta, for sharing a little bit about this with us.
Ultimately, the demon becomes your ally and your friend.
That's the direct link to Chud.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, to make that transformation, allow that transformation to happen. Sometimes I've actually seen people, as they dance, transmute the demon right in front of us from its negative presence to its positive, really powerfully positive presence. Doesn't always happen, but it can, and that's amazing.
Yeah.